You are now listening to the Do It Movement podcast, where we share our experiences in real estate investing and encourage you to take action. You don't want to miss what we have in store today, so let's welcome our host, Martine Richardson, and our co-host, Lori Eubanks.
What's up today, Do It Movement listeners? This is your host, Martine Richardson, your buy and hold coach. And I am joined today with my co-host, Lori Eubanks, and the man, the myth, the legend, the head of the Richmond Mafia, Jim Ingersoll. How you doing today, Jim?
You are too funny. Oh my gosh, we are going to have a great time today. You are bringing the party to Do It Movement. I love it. Thanks for having me on. Let's have some fun.
That's right.
We're so excited to have you, Jim. You just inspired so many, and I know a lot of people are going to take away, a ton of notes and just some key things. So could you tell us a little bit about your journey? How did you start? And, was there any bumps along the way?
Lots of bumps, Lori. Lots of bumps. Well, Joan and I got married really young. She was 19, I was 21, and I watched my dad buy some duplexes growing up, and he made it look so easy that we bought one at like 23 or 24, but it didn't go so well. So that was the first really big bump, and I was working as an engineer, and we paid $20,000 for this duplex. What could go wrong, right? But
Right.
we were undercapitalized. There's a reason property is $20,000, even in the early 90s, and we were undercapitalized. I didn't have a clue how to manage, and the property was really run down. And I had a lot of tenant issues. I didn't have money to do the repairs, and I had to fix things like a boiler on my own because I couldn't afford to pay anybody to come do it. And
Wow, you didn't have YouTube.
Yeah.
No YouTube then.
No, this is Walden Books. I went and bought a book on home repairs, believe it or not, at a mall. So malls and books are a thing of the past almost. So I started fixing things myself, and then my dad started helping me fix things up, which kind of brought things to like a even keel. But then in 98, I moved to Virginia, and we had to sell it, and I sold it on a land contract and refied the next day, and everything paid off fine. It worked out okay, but it was a rough experience, managing and rehabbing and all of that. And Cheryl said, that's it. So stay in corporate America a while. And so I did that, and I stayed in corporate America way too long. And then like 2005 or something, we started buying a couple properties here in Richmond. We bought one in the West End, a second one in the West End. Then we bought one in Church Hill on Chimborazo, which is a great block. But back then it was not, it was rough. And so we just started kind of back. And then I was doing well in corporate America. I was running 2 factories and had all these employees. Like at one point I had 300 employees. And then I was told I had to lay everybody off. So I shut down 2 factories and laid everybody off. And I said, that's it, like out of corporate America, this is it. And I started wholesaling. And when I started wholesaling, like everything took a long time to really click and get into sync. And so I would like find a buyer. I wouldn't have a house. I'd find a seller. I was afraid to sign a contract. All the normal fears and problems. And then one day I was driving through Petersburg, Virginia, and I saw this little for rent sign in a really rundown house. And I called the guy up. His name was Bob. We're still in touch to this day from 2006 a little bit. And I said, Bob, how are you possibly renting this really rundown house with high grass? And he said, well, not very well. And he said, I own a lot of houses, and I've got 5 of them that are in pre-foreclosure. So we signed a contract for those 5, and then everything started to click. I started building a buyer's list back then off Craigslist, and the rest sort of is history from there. Everything synced. The next year, we wholesaled 100 houses.
Wow, it's incredible. That is amazing.
Believe me, I know what it's like to struggle.
Wow. And so through that journey, I mean, I'm sure you were knocked down throughout the entire process. What kept you going? What was it for you?
You mean when I came back in 2006? Well, I took 10 years off because Cheryl said we aren't going to do this anymore. So the first lesson there is like, you're going to fail. You're going to screw things up. They're not going to go perfect. But the key is your recovery period has got to be fast. Like you got to get back on the horse and get riding again and just make offers, make deals, make it happen. No excuses. Don't do what I did, which was take like 10 years off. As far as when I was starting to wholesale, I mean, I didn't want to stay in corporate America. I could have a couple times left Richmond and taken really good jobs, and I just didn't want to do that. So my why was my kids were in middle school back then, and I didn't want to move. And I was really burned out of corporate America as it was. So I would have done almost anything to stay in.
Yeah. And when you left, look at how much more you did. So, I mean,
Well, let's go through history a little, Lori, because 2006, what happened after 2006? You know, I like 2006 and 7, I was wholesaling all these houses, like 80 to 100 a year, over 100 maybe. And then the market freaking tanked. Like
right.
it was a massive downturn. And so then I had those challenges as well. And so at that point, I don't know if you guys were, neither of you were investing back then, right?
No.
So all
Just
the
graduated high school.
financing, like the financing was drying up and hard money lenders were going out of business.
Oh,
So I
wow.
couldn't wholesale and I had to really dig in and find some other things. That's when I started flipping and started buying and holding a bit.
Wow.
So you sort of pivot through those difficult times, but those were rough years too. And I remember writing in my journal, like, there is a massive wall ahead of us. I don't know how to get through it, but I'm not going to give up. Like, I'm going to pound through it. I'm going to go over it, go around it, whatever it takes. And for the longest time, Lori, I got up at 5 a.m. every day during probably a 6-month period through that downturn and just said, I'm going to work harder than everybody else and make it happen. And I survived.
That's right.
Love
That
it.
sink or swim.
Not everybody survived that downturn. A lot of friends went out.
Wow. So today you are the king of networking.
Okay.
You host many events, one in particular. Well, actually, now it's branched out.
It is.
And you bring so many people together, lenders, wholesalers,
Yeah.
just all different types of people coming together, and everyone's doing business. And so I would love to know your secrets to networking. Like, how do you get out of your shell? And how do you do that?
Well, I used to be an introvert too, because I used to be an engineer, and engineers are very analytical and they like to control all the variables to get the desired output and all that. So I had to like reprogram my mind completely. But I do relate to the introverts a lot because like I can hang out with you guys and it's like no problem. I could talk to 1,000 people with a microphone, no problem. But when I'm in a small group of people and I don't know any of them, I'm still uncomfortable today. Like I don't love that environment. So it's a constant work in process, but networking is critical. Lori, I remember you standing up at Dealmaker saying, that's it, I'm leaving Capital One. So
Yeah.
I do love bringing communities together and getting people to do that and mix up. And I always say your network's your net worth. And all three of us know that's really true.
Yeah.
So a couple of quick tips. I think I think it's important to get into the right room, and your room might change as you grow. I remember talking to Tom Berry about this because Tom's got a lot bigger goals than I do, and he said sometimes you got to change up your room, so you got to elevate if you want to keep doing more and getting bigger and all of that. So you got to be in the right room. That could start with a local meetup or a RIA or a Dealmaker in your own city, whatever it is. Start there, and then don't go to the bathroom during breaks. Go to the bathroom while somebody's speaking. I think it's important. You got to stay in the room to be in the room. And when you walk into a room, always take the perspective of like, some people come in and they're like, here I am. Don't take that perspective. Instead, come in and say, hey, there's Martine and Lori. And make it about other people more than yourself. I think helps build that networking a lot more naturally. And if you're a good listener, that really helps. And that goes to the strength of all the introverts listening today, too, because introverts are good at listening, not great at talking. I know, because I've been there. So that could be, think of it as your secret weapon as an introvert, because you're a great listener.
Oh, that's great advice. It's the uncomfortableness that helps you grow.
It
And
is.
so what year did you start Dealmaker? Was that
Well, I sort of started with a 2-day event called Flipping for Profits. And there was
okay?
like 40 people or 30 people for this 2-day in a hotel. And that was quite a while ago. But then it sort of morphed and changed over the years, as you guys know. I remember the first really good one we did was called Ultimate Freedom Without banks. And David Phelps really helped me put that together, and I'm really grateful for that. David's been a friend for a long time. And then he and I did one in Dallas together, and that was great. Eddie Speed came, and Quincy Long came, and it was a really good 2-day event. And then David had this idea of doing a teleseminar back then, probably 8 or 10 years ago. And we did this teleseminar series for doctors and dentists, and it was all about investing without banks. And then we did a second one on self-directed IRAs. So that was sort of the start. And then through the years, it sort of continued to change and get better, and became Dealmaker, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, it was before 2020, 18 or 19 maybe.
Actually, me and Martine met at a Dealmaker. We
Love it.
sat
We did.
beside each other at Dealmaker and instantly connected.
Been inseparable ever since.
I love it.
It's been amazing. So your group, I mean, it's been inspirational. We've worked with lenders, wholesalers, just so many people. That's why we call you the Godfather, because you have brought so many people together. And then, you know, the growth, the amount of time it took someone 20 years ago to get into
No.
real estate versus today is incredible. So if I were looking to network with my local real estate group, where should I go? Where do you start?
Well, and I think that's the value. Cheryl and I had that in the 90s, where there wouldn't have been a 10-year gap. I had no network, I had no training, I had no mentor either, no coach. There was no YouTube, Facebook, or anything else back then, and people didn't connect as easily either. You know, I think you could go in Richmond, there's a lot of great ones. We're really lucky. I used to love Martine's. We'd meet at Chewy's restaurant.
That's
That's
It
right.
was so good. So, but you know, I know some areas have a lot and others don't have really good ones. In Florida, there's some really great ones between Sarasota and Tampa, because there's awesome, you know, real estate leaders down that way. And then, so check your local area and be aware that Dealmaker is growing nationwide. And so we're getting ready to launch our 12th city right now. And there's 2 or 3 more in the works. So watch for the Dealmaker meetups, because they are coming.
I'm loving it.
I didn't see this coming, Martine. It wasn't on my goals or strategies or my bucket list. But at the end of the last Dealmaker, 2 people came to me, Pam Fisher and Yvonne Malpica. Pam's in Raleigh and Yvonne's in Orlando, and they said they wanted to do a local meetup in their own city called Dealmaker. And Cheryl and I are like, let's do it.
I'm sorry, Martine. This is you.
So you never know what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden it's expanding from those first 2. And so just in the last month, we've launched Philadelphia, South New Jersey's coming, Jackson, Mississippi is the next one. There's one coming in Green Bay, I believe. Somebody's talking about doing one in Fort Myers. So it's
Wow.
there's one coming in the Pacific Northwest. That'll be our first West Coast ones. It'll be very interesting to see what happens over the next year or 2 with this.
That's incredible.
So you told us how it started from this 2-day event,
Yeah.
and then it's grown to this huge
Right.
event that people look forward to. Now you've branched out into all these different cities.
Yeah.
But what made you want to start having events? What made you want to start getting people together in the room? Like, I want to hear how this all like started.
All right. I would say that sort of started in like 2006 or 7 when I started wholesaling and struggling, because I got invited to an event in Tampa with a guy named Jack Miller, who became like a mentor for a while. And he just blew my mind with creative finance and options. And the first couple times, multiple times I heard him speak, it went right over my head. And he talked really fast and it was hard to comprehend. But there were amazing people in the room that were doing great things. And so even though Martine, when Cheryl and I came back in like 2006, I mean, I wasn't flat broke, but I wasn't doing really well leaving corporate America either. And I remember talking to Cheryl, I'm like, my heart says I want to go do this, but we don't have a lot of money in our checking account. And she's like, you know, I believe in you, let's go do it. So we started going, and we started going to these events, and I started to see the impact that happens when you're in a collective group of people. I think seeing how that impacted my own story made me want to try to do something like that for other people.
I love that. I love that. Because you
You guys are
definitely have
getting stories
impacted a
out of me
lot of
I have
people.
no, so that's really good.
I
I
love
love
it.
it.
And the three of
We've
us have
been
been friends for
working.
a long time.
Yeah.
We've been working on our interview skills by watching Oprah. So we are ready, Jim. We are ready.
Yeah, do it.
So, I want to ask. So, like, you start networking with someone, you don't know them at first. You make the conversation about them, so you can really
Yes.
get to know them. But when do you know it's time to take this relationship to the next level? I don't mean to say it like dating, but like I'm saying like the next level. Like, let's start doing deals together. Let's start making money together. How do you know when that time has come?
Oh, this could be like Tinder for real estate investors. I could see it. Never know.
That's coming.
The app is coming. Swipe. Oh my gosh. Well, things don't happen. You always got to do some due diligence too, because just because you meet somebody super charismatic at an event doesn't mean they're the most honest, high integrity people that we know. All three of us know people that have really shocked us in fraud.
Right.
So just because you get that instant connection doesn't mean you should skip due diligence either. But, I think when you share what your goals are and you see how somebody can help you, then do that, because you're going to meet private money lenders at events. Lori, you and I both like to lend. So if you meet Lori or I and you have a deal you need to fund, then shoot it over. People want to do business with people they can know, like, and trust.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So, Jim, coming from the master himself.
I don't like talking about myself, right?
That's why I
love it.
said this was an excellent opportunity, because
Yeah.
we get to get Jim to talk about himself.
right.
How does it make you feel knowing that you've changed so many people's lives, including ourselves?
Yes.
People are way too kind, because I can create like a community and an environment and an atmosphere, but y'all go out and do the deals, right? So one of the first ones I remember, Martine, was after Dealmaker. Somebody said going to Dealmaker was like hitting the Da Vinci Code, because like 2 days later they went out and made a lot of money wholesaling a house. And I thought, well, that was pretty cool. No, I love making an impact, but even more important than making money is making great families and keeping your spouse and your kids happy. And both of you do a good job on that. How's that? There's a pivot.
That's right. Right. That's
Love
right.
that.
I love that.
It's easy to
I
make
love
money.
that.
It's very easy to make money in real estate. Don't you guys both agree?
Yeah.
Martine,
Yeah,
what you're
I'd say-
teaching people is wealth building a rental portfolio. Of all the deals I've ever done, those are the ones that have made the biggest difference for me. And Lori, same with you?
Yes, absolutely.
No doubt. So
Yeah.
think of the
For
impact
sure.
you're making now. So I love it.
So listening to that, because it seems like you were focused on wholesaling because you wanted to bring an influx of cash when you first got
Absolutely.
back into it. But then the market turned, so you pivoted to doing different types of deals. Would you say that the market turning was a blessing for you because it helped
Oh
you look
yeah,
at it differently?
because houses got really cheap too. So they got incredibly cheap. I wish I had another shot at this. I wasn't ready then, but I would be ready if it happens again. So you either got
Right.
you got to have a great network, because you got to either have your own capital or access to other people's money, which is OPM changes everything, as you guys know. It allows you to buy and hold and do BRRRR and all the things we love doing.
Right. Yeah, I like to always say that I'd say I wish I would have started buying and holding sooner.
Me too.
But having a foundation of wholesaling does help, because it lets you know how to find a deal so you can structure that money on the deal so you can start keeping them. So just hearing your story about how you were wholesaling so much and then you started keeping, and when you started like doing different structures, how did you learn how to like structure the money on the deals, or like how to make the deal make sense? Because I know, like you said, it was a rough time. This was a totally different environment
It is.
that you had seen before. So, like, how did you learn how to, I guess, structure these deals differently?
Well, you got to be around the right people. Like I said, I started going to Florida for all these events, and then just, Jack Miller, John Shaw, Peter Fortunato, Doug Spottiford. Of course, 2 or 4 of those have passed, but they just, they had a different way of looking at deals and structure and using OPM. And once you realize you can create a great deal, if you buy the right deal for the right price, You don't need very much of your own money. That changes everything. Even Martine, the very first wholesale deal I did, I didn't understand that I didn't have to pay for it. Like I went to the title company on Brook Road then, and I'm like, where do I send the money for this like $30,000 house in Petersburg? It was really cheap from Bob. And they're like, no, you're just going to walk away with an assignment. Like that didn't even connect with me back then.
But it's so cool that you learned while doing, because a lot of people, they would have taken, I don't know, or I don't have 30,000 to pay for this house. They would have took that and they would have not done it. But you decided that you were going to do it anyway and just learn from the punches. And while you were learning, you made money.
Yeah, and then like I said, to structure deals and to get creative and to build a network, you've got to get out and like you've got to get into the right room with the right people and literally build a network of people so you can learn. I'm still learning today. I learn every single day. I'm sure you guys do too. There's something I learn every day.
So what is some advice that you can give people that are introverts, that they're really like afraid, they have to build the courage to go and talk to people they don't know? What is some advice you can give?
Well, I think if you come to a Dealmaker, you're gonna be greeted with hugs and like it's like a family reunion. You guys know this, right? So I've had people tell me, like, I came into Dealmaker as an introvert and I left as like with a network of friends. Because it's such a warm, inviting thing, we create the right mindset and the right environment. So if you're struggling on this, I would say you're not going to the right events or the right rooms. And I mean, real estate people that I work with, they leave their egos at their door and they want to help other people succeed. That's the purpose of your podcast and your coaching and everything, Martine. Like you want that light bulb to go off. You want people to do well. So if you're not feeling that, then you're not in the right room. And if you're letting that hold you back, that's just a self-limiting belief you got to get over. You just got to come out and you got to make it happen.
You got to make it happen. You got to have
do
that
it.
Grit, that
do it movement.
That's what I heard in your story the whole time. Grit, determination, the willingness to always want to make it happen no matter what.
It's true.
You said if it was a wall, you were going to break through it, climb
My
over,
journal
go
said.
around it.
Yep.
Go under it. So, Jim, what is like a game-changing resource that you can share with the audience that they could use right now? Like, let's say that they're just starting, they've only been thinking about doing real estate, they don't know where to turn or anything like that. What is a great resource that you can share that they can?
Well, I think everyone should follow you, Mark.
I love it.
Facebook group.
The name of my Facebook group is The Freedom Inc. See, Jim's making about us on the podcast. He shows
I
know. All the time.
It's a great group to get into.
I love it. So, Jim, for the people that are listening, if they want to get in touch with you or they want to learn more, what's the best way for them to do that?
I mean, they can email me, jim@elitedealmakers.com. That's fine. You could join my Dealmakers Facebook group and come that way as well. Is great. But you can join us at Dealmaker in March. It's elitedealmakers.com. And if you want to start up your own local Dealmaker, it's dealmakermeetups.com. Thank you.
And join a Dealmaker in your city, because they're everywhere now.
They're growing.
What about you, Lori? If people that are listening want to get in touch with you, what is the best way?
Yeah. Well, Martine they'll put in the show notes my email so anyone can reach out that way for deal making. If you do business in Virginia or just want to talk real estate, I'm on all the social media, so reach out and would love to connect.
All right, let me just say this. You two are amazing. But one of the things you did that can help every listener today is for a long time, you guys did an intentional lunch or coffee with other investors. So if you're new or if you're growing, this is something every listener should do. Go to coffee or lunch with another investor a couple times a week. Can you tell me how that worked out for you guys and the impact it made and why other people should do the same thing?
It was incredible. I mean, me and Martine did it together. And so if you are just, connect with one person and tag team. And so, but I'll never forget, it inspired my children. Like my daughter was like, I was telling her the mayor agreed to have lunch with us. I can't believe he would agree. And my daughter was like, well, why didn't you ask the president? Like, why would and making us think bigger, but bouncing
Mm-hmm.
ideas off Martine, and just when we would go to lunch, we would form those relationships, and whether we did business or just connected, it was just amazing that everyone opened up and trying to find how we can help each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not the mayor, but maybe Michael Jordan.
That's right. MJ, I'm here.
Yeah, I know, like, for me, from my perspective, when we started going to lunch, it helped me a lot because I was too afraid to go by myself, if I'm honest with you guys.
Yeah.
I was too afraid to go by myself. And to hear that Lori was going to come with me made me feel super comfortable because we had a great relationship. And then if I would forget what to say, Lori already had something to say when, like, ask a question or something like that. So it really helped. And then also, like, it just helped me just shoot for the stars. So we would ask people that I just knew that they were going to tell us no, that they didn't want to go to lunch with us. And almost everyone would say yes. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is so powerful. And also what I learned while at lunch with these people is that it was nice hearing their stories. It was nice being able to really genuinely connect with people. And it made us form relationships that eventually, I wouldn't say every single lunch, but for the people that, like, we were really aligned with, it made it so that we started doing business together. We found what was our sweet spots and what we like to do in a deal, and they would do that part of the deal, and I would do this part of the deal, and we created a lot of win-win relationships. I just went to lunch on Monday, Jim. I love lunch.
Well, who did you go to lunch with?
Every day. I went to lunch with, what is her name? Amanda. It's a newer, investor that she wants to get into the game.
Love it.
And she just wanted to ask me a couple of questions.
Well,
So
you and I did
I
lunch at
answered
the
her
barbecue
questions.
a couple months ago, remember?
It was so long ago, Jim, I forgot. We need to go again.
All right, we'll do that. But Lori's coming this time, too.
I'm coming. I'm coming with y'all.
Right.
We're going.
That's right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As you can see, we are 3 friends having a great time today. If you guys want to connect with me, the best way is my totally free buy and hold investor community on Facebook. It's called The Freedom Inc. It is going to be in the show notes. We'd love to have you. Make sure you answer the 4 questions because I will deny you if you do not answer the questions. So please answer the questions. The group is free and we give a ton of value. I have a case study every single Tuesday night where I show you a real deal that was completed. This isn't make-believe like we could do it this way. No, this is how it was done. And you get to see in real time how to do these deals today. So if that's interesting to you, you want to build wealth, you want to build passive income, you want to revitalize your community, I am inviting you to come and join the group. But Jim, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I love having you on. I love being able to ask you questions because I knew you were going to try to flip the script on us and talk about us.
You did say that.
Well, you two are the real deal. Speaking of real deals, Martine.
So I love it. I love it. But until next time, Do It Movement listeners, see ya.
Thank you for tuning into our show. If you need more hand-holding on your rental property investor journey, book a 15-minute strategy session with Martine. We can see if you're a fit for the Freedom Inc. fam, link in the show notes. Also be sure to join the free Freedom Inc. Facebook group, where each week Martine goes over a real-life rental property investor deal and shows you how the deal was found, how to get the money, and how to make it cash flow and much more. If you'd like to connect with Lori, be sure to email her at vitalizeproperties@live.com. Until next time, see you.